So this is In the Pursuit of Joy podcast. And it seems weird because I'm actually recording at my normal time. It's a little bit late Sunday, about 10:30. It's been a long couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I did send some notifications to my computer to remind me that I had to pre-record some of these podcasts, mainly because I was going on the road. I was going on a trip, and I wanted to make sure that I had some content for you, so as to not make you wonder. Those of you who are still with me, thank you, whoever you are. I haven't checked my stats. I've been gone. I'm grateful for you if you're still sticking around, and if you've already gone to my YouTube channel, In the Pursuit of Joy podcast on the road, I really appreciate you. It's been a long trip. I'm glad that it's over because so many things happen in between. Before I was supposed to go, there was a family matter that I needed to tend to the week before me going on a cruise to the Western Caribbean. I had mentioned that several weeks ago, and I wanted to do some podcasting. And it turns out that this family matter it was coming to fruition. There was the sale of a property. It was basically an inheritance, if you can call it that. And the legal side of the house was ready to rock and roll. And I took a flight thinking I was going to come back. I'm leaving on a Thursday night and thinking that I was going to come back on a Saturday, and then going on the road. I was going to rather than fly to Miami to board my cruise ship. I had already made the decision that I was going to go on a long road trip from Virginia all the way down the coast to Miami. And then I had a hotel reservation already set up. I was just going to stay there overnight and then wait out my embarkation time for the ship, which was going to be about middle to early afternoon. So I would have some time to collect some stories in Miami and enjoy soak in some of the local scene and whatnot. That was not the case when I landed at the airport, and my brother eventually picked me up, and we're heading out of the airport, and he informed me that the legal matter that was, for us to get together with lawyers and all that to sign and actually meet the buyers of the property, would not be ready to go that following Friday. It would instead be set up for the following Monday. And Monday, I had already decided that I needed to get on the road, start heading down south. And that kind of threw the proverbial monkey wrench into my plans. I was less than pleased because there were some other circumstances at play. I wasn't feeling really joyful at the time. Let's just say that I figured the only way I can do this is by staying here the weekend. And there's some other family circumstances. There was a death in the family just in the past week, and that family member on my sister-in-law's side of the house was a sibling, and that was a long illness, and it was very tragic. And her brother passed on, and now it's just they're busy with some of the things that we have to undertake when someone dies. When they check out, that's how it is. Property has to be liquidated. The stuff that we collect over the course of our lives, those things have to be taken care of. And that is our duty when we're left behind. For when our turn comes, hopefully somebody else will do the same for us. And that just was kind of a little bit of a tense time. So not really much recreation for me. I mean, I got to spend some time with my brother, and that was good. He enjoyed it more than I did. I had more of a business mindset than I did more as a recreational one. And this would happen over the Mother's Day weekend. So it's fairly recent. And again, that was, I know something was coming, that trip was coming. But when it came down to showtime, I was ready to go, and I didn't get very much information. So it was basically a confusion, like a comedy of errors, and nobody was laughing. And I got stuck. I pretty much got stuck, and not a great time. I was kind of bored, and I was really ready to get out of town and come back and pack my bag and then get on the road to Miami. So everything worked out on the end. All the tension's gone, and I'm glad that I lived it, but I'm glad that I no longer have to worry about this matter. So I wish much luck to the person who bought the property from us, and I hope they get great joy and enjoyment from it, and some profit that should be forthcoming for them. So moving on to my trip to Miami. You see, I wanted to leave maybe not on a Monday, but after Mother's Day, I wanted to leave like on Tuesday or Wednesday that week. And I just wanted to stop in some places and, make it kind of a real road trip, just to explore a little bit. And then turned out that I had to leave on my own birthday. So it turned out to be on that following Friday. So I drove for over 14 hours, and I had to make a few stops along the way, and just, the necessary stops. And when I got to Miami, it was at least 7:44 p.m. I left Virginia at 2 a.m. to be exact. So it was very interesting. And I just wanted to basically be kind of sort of halfway on my trip by the time the sun came out. So it was a little bit challenging. Getting into Miami was kind of a mess, because Miami, you can't do anything without getting on a highway. It reminds me a little bit of California driving, but they have some weird ways of doing things down there. Beautiful city. I got some really good film and some pictures. I didn't stay as long as I wanted to. That didn't turn out. Again, I have a family member who took ill, and we did not spend as much time. I did roll into town, and a cousin of mine's retired down there, and he was able to meet with me for dinner. Once I rolled into town, I figured out where I was going, and I met his wife, and we enjoyed a little bit get together for about an hour, and then we had to part ways. I went to my hotel and crashed. And they had another trip that weekend anyway. And then the next day I boarded the ship, and that was a really good embarkation, I thought, compared to the first cruise that I took out of Baltimore. And we went to the Western Caribbean. What was on the agenda was Aruba, Curacao, and La Romana and Puerto Plata, basically Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic. And that was an 8-day cruise for my birthday, something that I set up a while back. And I said before, I wasn't, and if you've been going to my YouTube channel, I kind of, because of the things that were going on with the family situation, I almost talked myself out of going. And some of the things happened. I had to quickly relocate. Well, not relocate. I was ejected from my former residence, and that property has already been sold. In fact, yesterday, Sunday, I saw the new owners move in. So that the previous owner moved the property where I lived in very quickly once I vacated it. But it was just the fact that I had to vacate so quickly that threw another monkey wrench into whatever I had planned. So it was not smooth. I was just glad to have some friendly people who were, thankfully, I have to say that I had some friendly people who helped me get through some of those hurdles. and moving out, packing my stuff and moving into storage. So I will be forever grateful. It was unpleasant. I have to say that it was hard. It was really challenging to find ways to stay positive. And I mean, I try to live it. I try to teach it, but I also I do my best to be a good example. So I have to practice what I preach. This is one of those times. I'm not saying that I enjoy it. I'm just saying that these principles really work well, but we have to have the discipline to stay calm when things are not exactly going our way. They're going someplace, just not exactly the way we want them to, or the direction that we want it to. But sometimes in the same token, and we're going in a certain way where it's kind of against our will, sometimes it's kind of exciting to just say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to let go. I'm just going to surrender to this. And I want to see where this takes me. So even when you're having a cringeworthy moment in your lives, you should slow down enough to be grateful for the experience. I know it sounds silly, but this is actually a very deeply healing experience, because you have to be able to forgive yourself for every time you say, you know, I'm really not happy about this. I don't want to do the following, but I'm going along with it. Just actually go for the scary versus going for the secure or for the safe way, the easy way out. So I didn't have much choice to take any other way but the hard way. So I guess a lot of decisions have been made for me this year. I just have to actually turn on my intuition and follow those leads. And it's one of the many experiments I undergo. And so then the next one was the road trip. In the road trip, if you go to my YouTube, you can see what I was up to during the cruise. I enjoyed it, and this cruise, not being the first one, I discovered something, an attitude that I just noticed. I don't think that it's new, but it's something that I paid attention to. Was that in my pursuit of a new attitude, a new life, and better understanding of what my purpose is, I'm finding myself kind of bored with the whole thing, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to cancel it, because you just get on a ship and then I already knew what was going to happen. There's food and drink, and I didn't feel the same connection that I felt the first time. And the first time, the connection I felt, I understand now that it was more of I had this feeling of unbridled freedom, because I could just get away. But even in the freedom that I was enjoying, there were some limitations, because you're on a ship. And on the second cruise, I was thinking, there are routines, like you have to be aware that your stateroom attendant, he's going to come in and clean your room every day, and you have to tell him what time you think is convenient for you during his days. Those guys, they have a schedule, they split it into half, then they take a break in between cleaning sessions. And it was just an established routine that I thought that was kind of bothersome. Like, I should try to at least try to force myself to sleep in a little bit, and find myself waking up early like I normally do, and then just getting some breakfast, getting dressed, putting on some mascara, whatever, when I'm on the ship, not when I'm out, exploring the beach or swimming or things like that. But it's just all the same to you. Just when you think, if you ever thought that you were free, that it came with a price. And the price in this occasion was that I still had to be bound by some rules, that I could sleep all day and just put a sign, don't bother me, don't come and clean the room. At some point, they have to come in and clean the room. It's what they get paid to do. But part of me felt at the same time that I had an obligation to get up and just let them come in and clean the room. It is kind of silly. And to an extent, I felt that I wasn't as free flowing in attitude as I was with my first trip. So something had to trigger a sense of awe and wonder in me, because and now I'm understanding that I'm exploring new things. So a cruise is just a means to an end. It's just like taking a taxi to the airport to someplace you want to visit. It's just transportation. So the fact that they feed you and imply you a drink if you wanted to, and they have entertainment and all that, some things to keep you busy. That's mainly because it's simply transportation. Otherwise, it's just getting in a water taxi. So I had to think, well, how can I find that same excitement that I felt the first time? I suppose that's this question that many people ask themselves: how do I get there and then hang on to that feeling of euphoria, I guess, and try to maintain it as much as possible. I found out it's not really something that's sustainable. So it's really, I said this before, is that maintaining this energy level positivity is really hard. It's hard work. It's challenging, and it's worth doing, but it is still very hard to do, because you have to constantly tell yourself there's reason to be joyful, and there still was. I was getting away. I was getting a break. Too many things happening on top of each other, and I was kind of trapped in a bunch of situations that kept piling up, kind of like a football game. You know, the one guy with the ball, he gets sacked, and then you get the pile up. And I was kind of feeling that way for a few weeks, and getting away was kind of nice. But the embarkation was nice. The trip was nice. It was a little hard on the body because I don't like sitting. I have a low tolerance for sitting for long periods, so I had to take more breaks. But just the same, I made pretty decent time. And the cruise itself, once getting off the ship, was good, because I had booked an excursion for each port, and I was pretty happy with that. I went and splurged, and being a birthday trip, I figured I'd do it that way. So each port I would have one activity. For the most part, they took the entire day. It's not like I had time to get off the ship, do my excursion, and come back, maybe book another one. They were scheduled pretty tight. One of those was actually canceled on me while I was out on a port for the next day. That one was canceled while I was out on another excursion, and I had to go to guest services and ask them, you tell me what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, because I have no clue. I have many choices, some things I don't want to do. I thought about snorkeling and all that, and there's something that I have to work out, and I'm not going to make it a topic tonight, but I need to work out something about the snorkeling. Swimming is not in the ocean is not an issue. But since I had not planned to do that, I rejected all the excursions that had to do with snorkeling, traveling on a nice luxury catamaran or whatever, and they have drinks at the end of the trip and whatnot. That just didn't do anything for me. So I went more for the things that brought me closer to a culture, and I was hoping food or maybe meet new people, that sort of thing. And of course, I had to do some horseback riding, which I enjoyed greatly. Had an opportunity to sign up for that again. And another one two of the experiences brought me a little bit closer to nature. Those were good. I think they were good choices. And the last one was actually a replacement to one that was canceled. And it turned out to be a whole trip where I did a lot of climbing and walking when I wasn't swimming. So even with my leisure activities, I'm always doing something active, physically active. That's usually how I like to spend my time. So the joy factor really came from actually getting off the ship and doing things. Not because I was desperate to get off the ship, not because there wasn't enough to do on the ship, but like I said, it's already moved from the place of a little bit of awe and wonder, like this is cool, this is a luxury taxi, floating taxi, to now it's just transportation to and from. places that I want to go to. And I still have respect for being able to get on a ship, and I enjoyed the trip, but I was really happy to get off the ship on each port. And when you get to my YouTube channel, you should be able to see some of the activities I was talking about. And the end of the cruise was also a big relief, because I didn't have to go through the shipboard routines, which is still, again, interesting, because it's supposed to be free flowing activities, and I can drink, I can eat. And then I was actually kind of so done with the eating, not being ungrateful about having a lot of food available, but I could cry. There was so much food. I just couldn't taste anything else. I had no interest. And I had to find reasons to eat a couple of times. I found myself just telling myself, look, you got to go eat something, and then have that big meal tonight for a special event that we're already prepaid and scheduled. And so I was pretty bored with eating. I wanted to try things, but I was bored with eating. But when I ate, for the most part, I enjoyed it. Drinking, I didn't spend any money, hardly any money on drinks, and that seemed to be totally boring to me. The first time I indulged in that stuff, I spent way too much on fancy libations, and this time I was just a whole lot more control about that, because there's really nothing special about it. And frankly, I didn't really need that much drink anyway. So I wanted to save my money and my time and energy for my shore excursions, and it worked out well. So upon return to Miami, I was actually tired, because I've been on a roll the whole time, even on the ship, moving around. I used the stairs a lot. I'm walking back and forth. So there's always some sort of activity going on, and not as much sitting around sleeping or resting. On occasion, I might have been able to take a short nap, because there was nothing else going on while at sea. And I was just actually not having a desire to do anything. And I would take a short nap in my room, and then go back out and do some walking and find something to do. So being on the ship kind of made me feel a couple of times like I was cooped up, and I wanted to get it over with. So it's interesting, from the first time to the next time. Some people like to cruise all of the time. I enjoy it because I don't have to fly, and mainly because it's when you get there, you only have to just get off the ship. There's the dynamics of cruising that so totally different from other travel. But I also like to drive. So upon returning to Miami, I found that I didn't have, my cousin was not disposed to receiving company at the time, sadly, and I was actually tired, and I was ready to get out of there. Even though I had planned to spend some time in Miami to do some sightseeing, I will have to do that again later. But I got a hotel room that night, and I got some brunch and came back on a Sunday morning. Debarkation was so quick, and my car was parked right there at the port. So I got out of there really fast and found myself with no place to go. I mean, technically, I could have just started driving home from there. But I decided to get a hotel overnight, and I got to experience some local cuisine and all that. And I got a nice nap in the afternoon. And I just waited for that Monday morning to get on the road to come back to Virginia. But this time, I did not want to just gun it, 14 hours straight. And I just didn't feel the love on that one. I already did it. So, and I've been on other road trips where I did just that. I just pushed for time for as far as I could push myself. I had no desire to do that on the way back. So I decided to start driving, and I would just follow 95 a little bit, but I didn't want to get on 95, not pay a bunch of tolls. I guess you do in Florida, but I did not want to take the same route back. And I found myself just saying, you know what, let me just drive, and whenever I land, whenever I feel hungry, so hungry and really tired, when I really need to stretch, or when I'm just so tired, I need a place to sleep, that's where I'll stay. And I went past through the whole length of Miami. Miami got out of Florida sometime mid-afternoon because I kind of dragged it a little bit and hit a little bit of traffic. And then I found myself going to Georgia. I did not want to go that far west into Atlanta or Savannah. So I bypassed Georgia altogether. And I thought about going into South Carolina again. And I've heard so much about Charleston, then I thought, let me go ahead and do Charleston. And I made it into Charleston early in the morning, and I was running on fumes, and I thought, I need a place to eat. I need good breakfast, and then I'll go explore, and I guess I can stay there today and then just keep rolling in the afternoon and just drive overnight. It was the plan was kind of a flip of a coin. And no, as soon as I rolled over the bridge into Charleston and I saw the marina, saw the ships and the water and the city skyline ahead of me, I said, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. I'm staying in this town, but I still needed food. So I found a great place. It's on, I put it up on my YouTube channel. It's called, shout out to Miller's All Day. It's a modern place. It's a diner set kind of with a little bit of mid-century modern vibe, but it still has a lot of the today's flavor. And they make breakfast, not exactly all day. The name is kind of not, I wouldn't say misleading, but it is a breakfast place, and you can't do wrong. You just can't go wrong with breakfast. And it was highly rated on the app on my phone. I said, this is the one I'm going to go out. This is 50 miles out before I even reach Charleston. I'm like, as soon as 7 a.m. hits, I'm rolling into town. I'm going to get something to eat. And then I'll figure out how I'm going to explore this beautiful city. I just couldn't get over how beautiful Charleston is. If you're from Charleston and you're listening, lucky you. Lucky you. I was enchanted from the minute I laid eyes on it. And I had no idea where I was going to stay, but I just knew that I had to, once I got some food in my belly, that I would be okay. So I just roll into towns again on fumes, and I tracked down this place. It just, you look at what I ate on when you go to my YouTube channel. It's in the Pursuit of Joy podcast on the road. I would appreciate if you subscribe to it, because I have I got plenty, got like almost 80 videos already uploaded, full-blown videos, and also shorts on my travels. So this is going to turn out to be, now I know that I'm going to be exploring all the way back from Miami, all the way back up north to Virginia. But I'm just deciding it one day at a time, basically. Charleston, I only stayed one night. I should have stayed 2, but it got dangerous with the food and possibility of shopping. And I thought I would splurge on where I would stay. So I stayed at the historic bed and breakfast, the John Rutherford Inn, the house that's on Broad Street. And it's only like a 45-second walk to Miller's All Day. I know that's kind of cheating, but it was serendipity, because I just parked in front of the John Rutherford house, because that was the one open spot I had around the corner from the restaurant. And then I could walk back. And when I came back from enjoying my wonderful breakfast, I looked up at this house, and I was impressed with it. And I became curious, and I walked in. I thought, hey, I need a place to stay. Sometimes where I land is exactly where I end up staying. I know it's kind of a clingy way of doing things. I try not to get too used to doing that anymore, but it was there on my first time in town, and I figure, hey, you know what? My birthday is, well, it's really every day, all year, but it's really all month, and it's really any time. So why not? I also have a video uploaded to my YouTube channel. It shows you the room that I stayed in. I was really enchanted by this place. I slept really well. That's an important thing, especially in the middle of town with traffic and all that. This place was built in the 1700s. The floor that I stayed on was built in the 1800s. Still, they got hard concrete, and I mean, I could hear cars down the street, but I slept really well. So it's good to sleep and old properties like that, beautifully maintained. And I know I'll be back in South Carolina, especially back in Charleston sometime in the near future to enjoy some more of its beauty and all it has to offer. And after that, I did a nice self tour of the city, and I took video, and I did a little shopping, a little bit more eating before I left. The biscuits at this place are magnificent, I have to say. Yeah, I had to have one for the road. Then I had a hard time not feeling clingy about staying in South Carolina altogether. So the new experiment was live in the moment, enjoy it, and move on to the next new thing. And that's a challenge that I issued to myself on the spot. Not fair, considering that I was really having a good time, but I could have a good time someplace else. And not knowing where I was going to land next was even more interesting. So I ended up going to North Carolina because I wanted to go back there. Not some of the usual places where I've been to. I was stationed out of Camp Lejeune a couple of times, and I've been to Raleigh, beautiful city. So I wanted to stay away from places that I've been to. So I was shooting for Asheville because it was recommended to me that I go there. But then it was time to be nighttime. And I said, you know what, again, I just want to land someplace and I really need sleep. And I ended up at a family-owned mountain lodge off of Highway 26. It's in Flat Rock. And I booked it with my Expedia app and my phone. That's how I roll. I just roll into town and I just look, okay, where I'm flipping through my phone, like which one of these places looks good. And this looks familiar. It looks really interesting. This is not one of those properties that's a part of a chain of hotels. What a beautiful place. Yes, I have a YouTube, a short film showing you the place and my room. And they were able, actually, I really enjoyed it in Flat Rock because Flat Rock was so close to everything I wanted to experience. Within 30 to 40 minutes drive between Asheville, and I went to go to the Biltmore Estate, and I hit the Arboretum, which is fantastic. So I had some pretty good trips, and so I stayed an extra day in Flat Rock. That was not planned, but the price was right. The room was comfortable, and they were able to keep me in the same room. I was so happy. Nice quiet room in a corner overlooking a garden and the pool. I was really happy, and another serene and quiet spot. And I went into Hendersonville, just right down the road, and met some really nice people in town, and got some really nice specialty coffee. Shout out to Sharewell Coffee, very nice coffee shop in town. And I just met some really nice people. And on my last day, because it rained the whole time, I don't want to talk about the rain because it rained and rained on the way down to Miami until I got to Miami. And then on the way back up north from Miami, it rained some more. So going from South Carolina, it was super sunny, and immediately I hit the mountains and everything was misty and rainy, and it was like a rainforest. It really is that part of the state. And I welcomed rain normally, but I was pretty weary of rain by the end of the first day I was in town. And in retrospect, I should have given myself a break and just kind of thought about that, what I was going to do that day, first day in town. That should have been a museum day. And I ended up being outside and in the cool rain all day long. And I guess part of my brain wasn't really functioning that well, or not wanting to, or just not caring. And I just kept driving to and from the places I wanted to go and visit. And you'll see I got all my evidence. I've been there, but the rainy day sometimes is actually kind of a nice quiet time because there are few people out and about exploring. And sometimes you get a little bit of that nice quiet solitude that we all should be seeking when we just need some alone time. And I do a lot of that, of course. It's my favorite thing to do, but especially the Arboretum is one of the best places to go when there's hardly anybody. And on a rainy day, all the plants, all of nature is just getting one huge drink of water, just getting refreshed. And what's left behind is just awe-inspiring. So don't forget to go to see the video of the bonsai tree exhibit that I shot a lot of video of. I couldn't get enough of that place. The Arboretum is a magical place. And Biltmore Estate, I think I like the most the gardens. I won't talk about the house. I wasn't really enthusiastic about it, but I still went out there. We got a big rainstorm and ended up being soaking wet running, walking through the house. And that was kind of frustrating. I did not like that place one bit. I was weary of it. 10 minutes in, I stayed in there too long, but once I went into the gardens outside, I felt much better, and for good reason. So you'll see some really wonderful pictures and video of the flower gardens. And after that, the following day, the weather came back to normal, North Carolina weather, bright and sunny and hot. I went out to explore a little bit of Flat Rock and the Carl Sandburg National Park and his home, and it has the goat farm, and it has this beautiful property. And the weather was just right for that. Sadly, it was Friday, and they don't do tours in the interior of the house on Fridays. That would have been, guess what? On the Thursday, on the rainy day, it did not occur to me to go do it that way. So I regret nothing. Just touring the grounds on a sunny day was perfect. I got great pictures. It was just too beautiful. So I got lots of walking, lots of meeting new people, and I still have plenty of time on my last day in North Carolina to explore some more. I ended up going to Chimney Rock, which is overlooking beautiful Lake Lure. And I spent some time there. That's what really awesome. And I wrapped it up by taking a drive around town. I wanted to go horseback riding at Lake Lure, but the rain for the day before, that's not going to be feasible. I was pretty sure that they shut down the stables that day, so it'll have to be for another visit another time. And then from there, I thought I would wanted to go into Roanoke, because I said, from North Carolina, I'm a skip and a hop, about 500 miles, I can make it. On Friday night, I wanted to go back into Virginia really bad. I was just really ready to wrap it up, mainly because I got so much footage and all the content that I have to upload to my YouTube channel that I was really eager to get going. But I had been uploading videos here and there along the way. Wi-Fi was a problem on the ship, and something that everybody was aware of. So I was just uploading video shorts to YouTube just to have some content for people to watch, and just hopefully they will stick around and come back and subscribe to the channel and come back. And especially people that I met, I give them a card and a QR code so they can guide themselves back to the channel so they can see the same video interviews. And some people didn't really interview. I just kind of let them talk, and it was really enjoyable to get to meet other humans and just enjoying life and their own environment. I ended up, my last visit was, before Chimney Rock was Saluda. Saluda is a railroad town in North Carolina, and it's also within driving distance, just those few miles away from Flat Rock. And I think population maybe about 700. If you're from Saluda, you can correct me, you can drop me a line. But it's a small town, and I had a little, a very light meal there, and I talked to some nice people. Again, did the same thing. I just wanted to get the flavor of small town living. Very tempting to leave big city living for that kind of lifestyle. But all warm people, welcoming, and beautiful towns. And now I know where they are, since I've become more of an explorer again. I've enjoyed the process of returning home. So I'm kind of home based right now on this close location in Virginia. That's not my normal home. I'm still thinking what I want to do. Do I live on the road? Do I get another place? And that's another part of the experiment. And Right now I'm planning my next trip. That one's already been planned, but I just need to get plane tickets. I want someone suggested that I do another road trip. But I don't want to drive all the way to Seattle right now because I would have to figure out where I want to land. It doesn't have the same feeling of just purposely going up to Seattle. It'll take me a couple of days if I don't do any stopping at all, more than just the usual rest stops. I don't want to start that cruise exhausted. And it's going to be going to Alaska for 7 days with Inside Passage. I know it's going to be Skagway, I think Juneau, and I think we're going to hit Victoria, Canada. I forget what the other port is going to be. So that should be interesting enough in June. That's coming up, say, a couple of weeks from now. So I have to start, I'm going to fly. I'm going to fly and just maybe the day before and explore Seattle a little bit. So I'm sure you'll hear about it. And that's basically what's been going on the past few weeks. And the Pursuit of Joy got hit by a freight train and rolled with the punches and got dust off a little bit and pulled myself up by the shoestrings per se, and pretty much back on track. It's just trying to figure out where the next playground is going to be. So right now is temporary. I think everything's temporary, don't you think? We want to settle someplace, but then settling seems to be so unsavory to me right now, because once I cut loose from even having a permanent address, it's freaking some people out though. I'm not going to go into detail, but like, where are you? I'm everywhere, anywhere I want to be. And it's kind of fun. I'm curious to see where this road is going to lead me. So yeah, Alaska's coming up next. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and the Pursuit of Joy podcast on the road. I don't know how many trips I'm going to cram this year, but it's the end of May. There's so much world out there to explore, and you never know. So I see the clock is running. I'm running this podcast right up to the proper time. I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm pretty tired. It's time to kind of feel a little bit tiring from all the traveling, but that's okay. I'll recharge in the next few days and then be back out and see what else I can find fun to do. And I'm glad that if you're still around listening and watching, that you come with me on my adventures and you can see the part of the world through my eyes, and I'll enjoy your company. So, and the Pursuit of Joy podcast, and tell your friends to sign up for it. I think I'm bringing some interesting topics. I'll do some other discussions later on next week. Some things that happened that recently that will be worthy of discussion. And I'll continue with my 30 days to success. That has not fallen by the wayside. I just kind of, with the move, it's just going to throw everything off track. And I figured I would just scale back a little bit and then finish that project, and I'll be back on track, discussing the next, the 10 transformational lessons. So I got to 3. So we'll see how I can get the other ones out to you before this next cruise to Alaska. And with that, I bid you a good night. I hope you rest well and have great and sweet dreams. And I will be seeing you next week.